What we're doing in our farming practices is not conventional. I want a farm to keep the soil in place. I want the farm to be profitable. I want a farm to have water infiltration, to have cleaner, clear water. And we can do this by reducing our inputs. We can do this by keeping the soil covered and having that livestock on that ground. We farm about 2,200 acres of row crop ground and about 200 acres of pasture, permanent pasture. We utilize the row crop ground for grazing after the harvest season for the beef cattle. We use a tremendous amount of technology in our farm equipment. We use auto steer, row shutoffs, auto path. I can remember back when I was starting my farming career, it just been an evolution of education. Now we're talking soil health, we're talking all these other things. I believe we just know more about the soil. And the whole situation's been extremely satisfying, especially when you can see the results out in the field. Conservation's been part of my farming style since I've been a little kid, you might say. My father bought a piece of property back when I was in third, fourth grade. He had brought that land from very low production and fertility into a very respectable farm.
I think Greg's dad was just a prime example of how if you take care of the land, it will take care of you.
So I was exposed to a lot of good conservation practices and why we need to do what we're doing today. Janis and I went to the same high school. We graduated in 1975 and then we got married in 77.
Greg and I married young. We were 19 and 20 and just drove headfirst into the farming.
And she's been a vital part of the whole operation. She pretty much would take care of the beef cattle through the years. Great asset to the whole operation.
When I was in charge of the cattle, we would rotate them from one big pasture to another big pasture, trying to keep the feed fresh for them.
My theory is you should be able to raise all the energy and protein you need for those beef cattle on your farm. We have not bought any supplemental protein for any of our cattle for, I bet, at least 35 years. Last year in 2025, our feed purchases for our whole livestock herd was less than $1,000. That's where you can increase your margin so much more, your profitability. We utilize our forages. Mostly our forages are cover crops, which are multi-species. And I will never chop a field of hay again. I just won't. We do not chop any corn silage anymore. We find it so much more beneficial to do these cover crops, and then we can use that as forage. As far as the conservation with grazing, if we leave them no longer than 5 or 6 days on a paddock, we can break the parasite cycle, and that's very beneficial to the animal. Then we do not take those animals back to that paddock for a minimum of 6 weeks. That gives a regrowth of that pasture in the time that those forages need to regrow and replenish themselves.
So when he decided to go with these collars, it was a game changer.
We use the technology of the neck bands as far as virtual fencing. You put them on the animal itself. They're charged double solar panel, one on each side. The animal is toned. They actually learn very, very quickly what a shock is. And they will train actually in a day or two.
He can make the boundaries on his computer, and the cattle learn really quickly what their boundaries are, and they're growing better. It's been really interesting. It's taken the load off of his shoulders of moving the fences every day.
So we're actually making that soil work for us. No insecticides, no fungicides. So we're pretty much bare bone.
We don't get the yield, but we don't have the inputs either. What matters is the profit in the middle, not the bushel per acre. The farmers are so focused on bushel per acre, and that's not the metric they need to focus on.
This is all healthier for the soil. It does take time to get it back into the natural state because we've had so many years of destroying the natural state. And realistically, profitability-wise, we're so much more profitable because we have so many less expenses. When I had heard that Janis and I received the award, I was shocked, humbled about this. We didn't do this for the award. This is just what we do. It's all about sharing ideas, and that's about. I think that's part of this award is sharing ideas. So this is all good. I felt very humbled when I did receive this, and by no means we're finished in what we're doing.